Good evening. I'd like to call Lee County Board of Education meeting to order. Can we observe a moment of silence? Thank you. At this time, we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess we have no public comment this evening. At this time, we would like for Dr. Livingston and Dr. Kobu to read the Lee County Vision and Code of Ethics.
The vision statement: Lee County Schools, in partnership with the community, will provide challenging learning experiences for students in a safe and supportive environment. We are committed to academic excellence, technological innovations, social responsibility, and lifelong learning. Our success will be demonstrated by the achievement of our students and their positive participation in society.
Code of Ethics for School Board Members, Policy 2120. The Board recognizes that collectively and individually, all members of the Board must adhere to the accepted Code of Ethics in order to improve public education. Members of the Lee County Board of Education should avoid conflicts of interest and appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of the Board. Avoid the solicitation and or acceptance of gifts in return for advice or assistance on matters concerning the operations of the business of the Board. Avoid the misuse of public funds. Avoid misrepresentation or falsification of facts, and avoid making confidential information public. The Board accepts the Code of Ethics established by the North Carolina School Boards Association.
Thank you. At this time, we need a motion for the approval of the agenda of 1/9/2018.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Before we do that, could I ask for a moment where I could ask for something possibly be added to the agenda for consideration by the board?
Okay.
Obviously, with all of our snow days that we've had over the last few days, we have a work day coming up in 2 weeks, and also a half day in March that I would like to put forth before the board to consider to make those school days so that we can make up time and hours.
I would like a motion to add that to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we add the report from the superintendent for revised traditional and year-round calendars as item 3 under new business.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is approved. So we need a motion for the approval of the agenda now.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for our board meeting January 9, 2018 as presented with changes.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. At this time, we'll look at the minutes of 12/12/2017. We need a motion for the approval of same.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of our December 12, 2017 board meeting.
We need a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Thank you. At this time, I want to look at the chairman's report. Just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. It's a new year, it's a new beginning, and we can start over again. Of course, the students are not too happy to come back after the snow day, but I want to also say thank you to the superintendent and the staff and all the principals for all the work they've been doing. Some of us don't know this, I remember on a couple of days, it was on Sunday, Saturday, was driving around the county to see how everything is so that we can open the school. Same thing on Monday, even when we still have snow and ice all over the place. But I want to say thank you, Mr. Superintendent, for Dr. Bryan, for what you and your staff do for this county, and I want to say thank you to you all. Also, I want to, at this time, I want to say also I read a lot of things on the Inspire, and it's very inspiring. I hope the magazine can go to every home. If we can, maybe Sharon, you can talk to Sanford Herald and let them insert it in the newspaper so that it can go to all the families of Lee County so that they can see what amazing things our students are doing and our staffs are doing. At this time, I will ask for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd just like to thank everybody, certainly both our own staff, Reed Cagle and his staff, and Chris McNeil and his staff, and all the principals and members of each school who made sure we were ready to open our schools back today and taking care of everything over the last few days. It's been really cold, and not only snowy, but very cold as well. Mr. Chair, it's great pleasure for me tonight to have an opportunity for one of our young men who attend school here with us to give a presentation. Before he comes to the podium, though, I'd like to say a few words about Brandon Ramirez, who's going to be speaking tonight, and why he's speaking during the superintendent's time. He is speaking tonight as part of a requirement for him to seek national offers for Skills USA. And for those of you who don't know, Brandon is a very good student and certainly part of some very important things that we do as a school community. He is here tonight to talk about the added attention that sort of the benefit of career and technical education and what that means for students. And he'll try to highlight those opportunities for students here. But before I do that, let me say a few words about Brandon and who he is. He's a junior at Lee County High School. He's enrolled in the Academy of Engineering, one of our National Academy Foundation career academies. Takes an active role in projects and presentations. He's also active in multiple organizations within the school, including National Honor Society, Leo Club, the Lenovo App Challenge, and National Technical Honor Society. Within the community, Brandon is a contributing member of the Sanford City Youth Council, where he works with other high school students to discuss issues facing our community. Brandon's most notable affiliation is that with Skills USA, a career and technical education organization focused on giving youth the technical skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in the workforce. Brandon holds the title of State President of the Skills USA North Carolina, presiding over a membership of almost 5,000 students. The Lee County High School Skills USA chapter has had an incredible, exciting, and successful few years, winning multiple state competitions, electing various regional and state officers, and so many more amazing accomplishments. It is my great pleasure to ask Mr. Brandon Ramirez to come to the podium to address the board.
Thank you, Dr. Bryant, for that introduction. First off, I want to thank the board for allowing me this opportunity to speak. I'm really enthusiastic about this organization as a whole and the great things that it can do for students. So kind of to introduce the organization to you guys, it's a career and technical student organization similar to DECA and FFA in that we are involved with CTE classes. So in Skills USA, students can be involved from masonry to carpentry to hairdressing to coloring to hair coloring to culinary, excuse me. So we offer a very wide scope of competitions and wide scope of career opportunities. So the main focus is every year we have a regional and a state competition, and if you are in a state competition that qualifies for nationals and you get first, you get to compete at the national level against students from all over the United States. So seeing those students choose a workplace skill, a skill that they can absolutely take into the future and can always have with them, a skill that's going to be recognized by employers, because all of our competitions are at industry standard levels. So we have partners like Caterpillar that help make the standards for those competitions, so they know that if we have a state champion, they recognize that person and they recognize that that person knows what they're doing in that specific trade. We've had a really successful year. As Dr. Bryan said, we've had 2 national level champions this year at the state competition. We had a mobile robotics team of Greeley Hibbert and Cameron Bivens, 2 young engineering girls partaking in a mainly male-occupied competition. They were actually the only team of girls, and they came in there and they got first place, and it was their first year. We were all extremely proud of them. And we also had another team of also girls competing in chapter display, in which they had to build something that basically embodied what our Skills USA chapter was, and they actually fabricated a pinball machine, they 3D printed parts, they painted the whole thing, and they got first place and got to present at the national competition. I, at States last year in April, ran for state office, so I got in front of the local delegation, or the state delegation, of all of the regional officers, and I presented my case as to why I thought I should be a state officer, and I was elected. So I, along with those 2 teams, attended national conference. I partaked in a 3-day training with state officers from all over the United States. So I made a lot of connections, and I learned how all the states operate and how they're different, but how they work. And it's really interesting to see the different ways that states can alter the ways the officers actually do their jobs. But in the end, they all get them done, some better than others, but it still works. So basically, I'm here, as Mr. Bryan said, looking to run for national office this coming summer, but also because in Skills USA, we have something called the Chapter Excellence Program. And that's basically a way that the national organization recognizes the best chapters all throughout the United States. So for the past 2 years, Lee County High School has been a quality chapter, which is on the scale of the Chapter Excellence Program. But this year, we're really looking to go higher. We have a silver and a gold level. We really want to hit at least that silver level this year, hopefully gold the next. And this is actually also one of the requirements to present before the board. But besides that, I am extremely enthusiastic about this club. The light you see in the students' eyes when their name gets called and they get that medal around their neck, it's amazing. You'd be amazed that they did it all by themselves. The things that they're able to create, our masonry students, our carpentry students, what they're able to build with just their hands and a couple tools, it's inspiring. It really is. I know myself, I would never be able to present here in front of the board if it wasn't for my role in Skills USA and what I've actually learned from it. So going more into detail of what we've done as a local chapter, after state conference last year, we actually partaked in the Sanford Block Party. So we're very heavily involved in community service. We performed so well there that we actually, every single member that helped at that block party got mayoral recognition at a board meeting a few weeks later. So that was very cool and very, it felt really good to know that people are recognizing you for the work that you do in the community. But this year we're really planning to do more because, like I said earlier, as a part of that Chapter Excellence Program, we always want to do more and more and more. So we want to be involved in more community service efforts. For sure, we're going to do the block party. We're looking at a few other things that we still have to kind of work out. And we also have, I was actually the second state officer and also the second state president from Lee County High School. But I'm really excited to say that we have about 3 or 4 students that are interested in running, and that's the most that we've ever had interested in running for state office. So it's really amazing to see what you can inspire and how well our club is growing. We're about 30 strong right now, which is really good compared to how we've been for the past few years. And they're active members. Every meeting that we have, they all go to, or most of them, if they can't attend, they all go to. They're very enthusiastic about the meetings. We do a lot of leadership activities, a lot of team building activities. So it's not just about the competitions. We really try to build a community with that club and with all those students, and make them feel like they have a safe place where they can really partake in what they love and the career skill that they're interested in. As Dr. Bryan said, we have 5 of the 7 regional officer positions right now, which is, we've had 6 before, but it's still pretty good. So we're really excited about that regional conference coming up March 2nd, and then we have our state conference April 19th through the 21st. We have a lot of people that are looking to do really well there. We have our state champion team, again, competing in mobile robotics. We're really excited to see what they're able to do there. We have a new robotics team competing in a different competition, Urban Search and Rescue. We have a lot of 3D printing teams and some new competitions that we've never had before, like software development competitions, a few public speaking competitions. I myself am competing in principles of engineering, so I present some kind of engineering principle to a group of judges. So that kind of just goes to show how broad our organization really is, and the kind of things that we're able to present in front of judges and be able to feel like we know what we're doing, and then we get recognized for it, which is kind of hard to explain how much that can mean to a young student like myself. Knowing that you have an industry standard recognition on your belt, it can really push you forward and really motivate you to do a lot of great things. So I could honestly go on and on about this organization because it's done so much for me, and I know it can do so much for students. But mainly, I just want to bring the attention of the board to Skills USA as an organization as a whole, and the great things that it can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Brandon?
I don't have questions, but I want to say this. As president of Skills USA here at this high school 2003, it makes me really excited to hear you talk about it. And I know you recognize me from being in some of the club meetings and stuff with Henry and such as that. But I've actually attended the 4 last conferences and was there when Brandon was elected, and have been there in the past where our students have won. And I actually went to nationals 4 years in a row and represented Lee County High School when I was in high school here. And never made it to the national stage, but won first place on the state level. So to see that it's grown from 5 or 6 members when I was here to the 30, and being an advisor with Mr. Henry and such, and others at Southern Lee is tremendous to say. So I'm thrilled and excited. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here giddy.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, did you say that your competition is on March the 2nd?
We have a regional competition at Fayetteville Technical University March the 2nd.
State conference is April 19th to the 21st at the Sheraton Hotel in Greensboro in the Coliseum. And that's the one you want to go see. That's where cosmetology, criminal justice, firefighting, masonry, carpentry, chapter display, all these are 180-some competitions that are laid out.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I've judged in those competitions at Fayetteville Tech for the past umpteen years, it seems, and it is absolutely amazing what these young people are doing. I'm what I would consider a mid-career professional, and these guys put me to shame with their technical know-how, and it's just absolutely amazing what they're doing. And if you see what these kids are working on, then you know that the future is way brighter than, I don't consider myself old, but man, they make me feel it. That being said, congratulations.
yeah, because in the past, all Lee Senior won was one plumbing and electrician every year. So I'm glad to see now we're doing some other stuff.
And I want to say, on behalf of the board, thank you for representing. I know you're going to represent us well, so thank you for what you're doing with all your group and everyone.
Thank you.
And if we could, it's a pleasure to watch Brandon in action at various things. I know you've seen him, but he does an awesome job, and I've seen him speak in front of numerous groups. But I think for his portfolio, maybe tonight, if we could do him a favor,
Need a picture.
I'd love to have
And
a
that red
picture
jacket.
with you all.
Absolutely.
in
Perfect.
that red jacket.
Absolutely.
Is that
I like
okay?
the
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if we could, this is sort of like an extra effort award without the plaque, but he deserves one for everything he does for this community and the school. But I think it'd be great to have the board picture with him. If you can just come forward right here.
way. All right. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Great. Thank you so much.
I get the pleasure of doing the public speaking, judging and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I teach. Good. They are just neat kids. I may have to recuse myself from judging if I happen to walk. Of course, I'd have no business judging engineering, I assure you. But public speaking, that's right up my alley.
Well, if I may make a comment, if he speaks more, somebody's going to hire him out as a teacher instead of an engineer.
Exactly.
We need engineering teachers too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think Brandon could probably do just about anything he wants to do.
That is-
Second on my my agenda for tonight, Mr. Chairman, is January is School Board Appreciation Month, and I just want to take an opportunity to thank each of you for everything that you do. I know how hard you work to try to make our schools better and to serve our community, and I just wanted to mention that tonight, that it is School Board Appreciation Night, and thank you for everything you do, and really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
We do not have a Clean School of the Month award tonight because December was a little short, and we're still looking for our
kids
first
haven't
full day for the 2018. So, in accountability, we've been sort of on track, sort of the same thing. We've been doing a lot of work with data analysis, but we haven't been able to have a lot of meetings in the last week and a half because of our weather schedule. So I will turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Bryan. At this time, we'll look at the committee reports. CNI, do we have any?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Our next, we did not meet after our school board meeting in December. Our next curriculum and instruction meeting would be the elementary CNI. It would be at B.T. Bullock at 3:30 tomorrow.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Livingston. Facility and technology, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Facilities and Technology Committee met on January the 3rd, and that was, of course, a called board meeting. We met at 4 o'clock, and the item on our agenda was the capital improvements program for the fiscal year 2018-19 through fiscal year 2022-23. The Lee County Board of Commissioners annually requests a 5-year projected plan from the Lee County Board of Education to outline the major capital expenses, and that would be items over $500,000. This capital improvements program includes fiscal year 2018-19 through fiscal 2022-23. The plan also includes the order of priority as well as the estimated dollar amount projected within 5-year time period. The plan details the projected cost, funding sources, and the operating budget effects for each fiscal year. Project descriptions, justification, alternatives, as well as the relationship to other projects are shown to demonstrate the school system's needs. The Facilities and Technology Committee reviewed the CIP program at our January the 3rd meeting, and we would ask, and of course that will appear on the consent agenda that we'll consider shortly. And I'm sure if there are any questions, Mr. Kelly and I'd be pleased to address them at this point if there are any questions or observations on our CIP program that will go to the county commissioners.
Okay.
Hearing none, that concludes my report. Our next meeting will be on January the 23rd at 4 o'clock.
Okay. Finance.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee has not met in January. However, our next meeting will be on the 23rd at 5 o'clock at the Hines Building, and that will begin, of course, our budget preparation, and I think we will also plan to hear from our auditor on that date.
Policy.
So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Sorry. Policy, Ms. Bowen.
Mr. Chair, the Policy Committee met on December 14th with just one item on the agenda. We had Policy 7410 on teacher contracts. It was based upon some guidance from the State Board of Education for school boards to determine how and under what qualifications or what standards a teacher can be offered a multi-year contract. This is kind of a part of the undoing of tenure and now freeing us up to offer some multi-year contracts and what qualifications would allow a teacher to qualify for an extended contract. And that would be on our new business tonight for first reading, Policy 7410. The next Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for January 18th, and I believe, Mr. Chair, that you're going to be attending that one with me in the absence of Ms. Womack. Is that correct? The January 18th meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve our consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. At this time, we have no unfinished business. We will go directly to new business on Policy 7410.
Mr. Chair, I move that Lee County Board of Education approve the first reading of Policy 7410, teacher contracts. And as that's coming from committee, I don't think it requires a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Looking at the budget calendar. I need a motion to approve the budget calendar. I know you all have seen it and read it.
Mr. Chair, before I make the motion to approve, I want to ask the superintendent, will the snow affect this calendar in any way?
I think we're still okay. Last time I talked with Ms. Jones.
Okay. Without further questions from the rest of the board, I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed budget calendar.
Second.
We have a budget calendar. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 The motion is approved. At this time, we need a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Chair.
We have a third issue, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
we got one more. We got item 3 that I added.
Calendar.
Okay, the calendar. Yes, sorry, the calendar. Because it's not here.
Yes, sir. That's fine. That's fine.
Mr. Chair, the superintendent has presented a report that we changed January 22nd, which to a regular school day that is currently a work day, and March 23rd, 2018 become a full day. It's currently an early release day. That's for the traditional calendar, and for our year-round calendar that we changed January 22nd become a regular school day. It's currently a work day, and then March 9th becomes a full day instead of early release day. So the motion is to change those 2 days that I've set forth that you have in front of you.
Okay. We need a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
And hope no more snow
May I,
comes.
point of information on the testing schedule. Are the teachers prepared to go immediately from testing to semester 2 lockstep?
We started this conversation with the high school principals, and they feel very comfortable with that. But Mr. Ross, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. Okay.
It is a very tight fit,
Okay.
but
And Mr. Dietrich in accountability has also been very involved with this as well.
very good. Best of luck to you.
But we still got a couple of days that we're going to look at, correct, Superintendent, to add maybe time to because we're missing some hours or.
Yes, sir. We're still looking at the hours issue, and also winter's not over.
No, it's not.
Okay.
With that, I move that Lee County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of discussing information that is privileged, confidential, and not a public record under North Carolina General Statute Section 143-318.11A1.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. We're in closed session. This Lee County Board of Education is out of closed session at this time. We need a motion for the approval of the personnel report.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 1-year assistant principal contract as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The other personnel report.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve our regular personnel report for the month of January.
We need a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion. The Board of Education meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.